On Patriots Playbook, where legends are.
Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
Comments on Ramondre, just the continuing struggle.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect to see him in the starting lineup.
Paul says with his eyebrows raised.
No, he had 40 yards, Fred.
And he would have had less if he hadn't been breaking tackles.
Wow.
Yeah.
I say this a lot, usually 2 or 3 times a season. I wish Fred was like my coach or my teacher in school. It's a very low bar.
Earlier in the show, Mike, you were in the locker room putting Ben Gay on.
I say this to Felger and Maz all the time on my show.
Yeah.
Mike especially is really good at
making things up. Do what's best for the team and cut Mike Dussault. The team is on a downward spiral since you hired him. Only kidding. Mike, I still like you.
It's
you know what a challah is?
Bread. Inside baseball, Jewish. Challah on Rosh Hashanah is round.
I thought it was holla.
Good. Who and what would you ask if, one, you were trying to get the biggest media scoop of the century?
I just asked Bill what he does with the sleeves he cuts off.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Thursday here at Gillette Stadium, and it's Paul and myself for the time being. We'll be joined by a cast of thousands soon as they get out of the locker room. It's Evan. Deuce will be here. Alex will be here later because we've got picks today. So I understand that a couple of us did okay.
Yeah, order has been restored.
Okay,
we'll just leave it at that.
We'll get to that later. But, you know, we're talking about the Patriots. We're talking about the Miami Dolphins coming up this weekend. It's a game that I think most people think the Patriots should win. Certainly the Sharps have the Patriots favored by 1.5 or something like that, which you say, oh, well, that doesn't really mean much because you get 3 for being at home. But the fact that the Patriots are favored, it's the first time this season.
Yep.
It might be the only time, but we'll see. But certainly, it is a game that the Patriots they should win, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if I would go as far as to say should, but
they could win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm picking them. I'll eliminate the suspense for later. I'm picking them to win this game, but it's an opportunity that you have. A team that had aspirations that has been derailed by obviously an enormous injury, and they haven't been able to overcome that. And I think those kinds of situations are different than what the Patriots are in. The Patriots sort of are rebuilding. They know they're rebuilding. They have a young rookie quarterback who hasn't played yet. They're sort of trying to build something to get him onto the field.
Yep.
Miami thought that they would be a playoff team again. They've been a playoff team the last couple of years. They're looking to take the next step and find success in the playoffs, and they find themselves 1-3. I think there's a chance that there won't be a lot of intensity on the visitors' sideline on Sunday.
Really?
I think that they are going to be looking at it and say, this season is lost, and we have nowhere to go, and it's a big-time disappointment.
Do you think word on that?
I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying it could.
Do you think word on that team has gotten around about Tua's future that maybe hasn't gone public yet, but the players know, and that's affecting them?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think Tua's going to play, but
you do?
I don't know that for sure. But yeah, it could be, and that could make it even worse. They know he's not coming back, so what's the sense?
Right.
If you're right, and
that's what I'm just speculating.
Mm-hmm. Could be.
Just speculating.
I know the Patriots don't want to hear about anybody else's injury problems because the Patriots have had their share. Huge one for Miami. Jalen Phillips out for the year, needs surgery on his knee. So it's not getting any better for the Dolphins.
Yeah. I think young Evan had a nice post on Patriots.com this morning. It might have come out yesterday evening. Just his matchup post for this game. And, if you want to get into the X's and O's, that's the place to go. But it was
become a coach.
Yeah, it was a lot of what we talked about yesterday, or he talked about yesterday, about what Miami likes to do, what the Patriots like to do, what teams are doing against the Patriots, especially the last 2 games, and if Miami could replicate that. But certainly, he's setting it up to be a game where the Patriots have a good shot of winning as well.
Yeah.
But
yeah. This is an offense, like I said yesterday. It's the only offense that scored less than you have.
Right.
So you should have the game. You know that whole unsustainable Cincinnati thing that
Yeah.
we talked about. This should be another one of those games at worst.
And they haven't
for the Patriots.
They haven't led in a game this season.
No, they kicked a walk-off field goal as time expired. So they won the game, but they never actually had the lead.
Right during
until
the
the game was over.
That's something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First time since like 2016 that's happened. First 4 games that I think the winless Browns did it.
Yeah.
They didn't hold a lead in the first 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. You know me. That's probably about 95% true, but I screwed something up.
I mean, in other Miami news, the owner is selling, I think, 18% of the team.
Oh, is he? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
You interested?
He's looking to get a little cash.
You interested? 18%?
No.
Or would that be a conflict of interest?
Do you have to actually pay for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
You're probably right.
I'm still trying to buy a TV. I mean, you know.
A lot of people retire. You know, a lot of New Englanders retire to Florida. So I
Yeah.
thought that might be a good fallback for you.
No thanks.
No.
No thanks. Maybe you think the Crafts would give me a piece of this team when I retire?
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. Like, you can buy a piece of a team, but it doesn't do you any good until you actually cash out.
Right.
You know?
Like,
So-
if they gave me a piece of the team, I would cash it out like 20 minutes later.
Right. Can you just hand me the money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we not bother with the formalities?
Or you have your own buyer lined up as soon as they do it. All right. What else do we got? We got Davante Adams still out there.
That's
but,
probably still the biggest thing in the league. And, there's been a lot of talk. The Raiders have said that they will accommodate his trade, but not necessarily exactly allowing him to dictate it.
Yeah.
So I know that there was a lot about the 2 teams that he is interested in, the Jets and the Saints. And they're pretty obvious reasons. The Jets for Aaron Rodgers and the Saints for his connection to Derek Carr, who he played with in college and for a year with the Raiders. So I think Vegas wants to make sure that they're exploring all avenues.
Sure.
And getting the best deal for them. But my guess is that the Jets would be the landing spot.
I mean, listen, I think if you're close, a second-round pick is, and that's what I hear, that they're looking for a second and maybe some other things.
Something else,
It doesn't seem unreasonable if you're close. But if you're not, like the Patriots, he's 31.
I think he's 32.
Oh, 32 now?
Yeah.
So is that how it works? You get older every year?
I let it go.
Yeah.
I don't have to jump on everyone.
But, so I don't know if it makes sense for a lot of teams that aren't close.
Yeah, no, I agree. And whether it's 31 or 32, your team is going to look at it and say, will he be part of my team?
Right.
Will he be a big part of my offense when I figure to be in contention? And, I think if you're looking at it realistically from the Patriots, probably not.
And he always seems to be bitching about something.
Well,
so,
he's another one of those guys, and it comes with the position that, the people that tell you the traditionalist Patriots fans that think their success was built on the fact that they didn't have stars and they had a strong middle class and had nothing to do with having the greatest player who's ever played. Those people will tell you this is why these receivers, even now they'll argue, these receivers never win anything.
Yeah.
Which is absurd, but that's what they argue.
Yep. So, I mean, we almost won one with Randy, but...
No, but again, did you not win because you had a diva wide receiver that was setting records?
Yeah.
Do you think Travis Kelce's a diva?
Yeah.
I do.
You do?
Oh, God,
Really?
yes.
I don't.
He's a lot.
You think he complains a lot and all that?
Well, he's just like... He's the center of attention guy.
No,
I was going to use a bad term.
Yeah, no, yeah,
He's a
definitely.
center of attention guy.
But
He's
to
a
me,
diva.
like, we're going to get into one of these discussions again. But my definition of a diva is someone who causes problems because of their personality.
It can be that.
Yeah.
You can end up being
like
a problem.
He's a pain in the ass.
Well, that to me is Kelsey. He's
You think he's a pain in the ass?
He's a pain. Yeah. He brings a lot of baggage with him.
Yeah. Okay.
I would just say, I understand what you're saying, and you're right. Like, there's a difference between being a diva like Steph Diggs was in Buffalo, but he was really productive. He was really good until the end.
Right.
When all of a sudden the last half of last year, he wasn't getting the same amount of production. Now it's a problem, but he was a diva the whole time.
Yeah.
Make no mistake.
Yeah.
Mike and I used to argue about him all the time because I just said, well, I'll take him. And I would absolutely take him until he's no longer productive.
Right.
Because now the production's not outweighing the off-field problems.
Right.
And that comes with that position all the time. That's where the Raiders are right now
Right.
with Adams, although it certainly seems – I didn't know this until yesterday. Do you know what the origin of him being traded is?
No.
Evidently, Sports Illustrated put out something recently, like within the last 2 weeks, suggesting that Davante Adams makes a lot of sense as a trade candidate. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, the national guys are always do, you know, 10 trades that make sense.
Right,
Well,
right.
You know, you put the listicle up there and, you know, watch the clicks. Well, evidently, Antonio Pierce liked it on Instagram.
Oh. That,
Like-
what are you doing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's supposedly what caused a lot of this friction. Now, I don't know if that's
Did he ever address that, Pierce?
And just well, he ended up deleting it.
Oh, okay.
But now he's getting like I saw a little clip of him his press conference yesterday. He got really evasive and defensive about it. He didn't, not a good look.
See,
You know,
some people
we're
make-
worried about the players that are playing, or
Right.
one of those that like.
Yeah.
And just so you know, I'm not in Vegas. That might be overblown, that story. That might be like sort of the national thing. You know how that
Yeah.
works. It's much deep down, missing context, but I didn't know any of that at all. I found it
Yeah.
interesting.
A lot of people, they use that like button as a bookmark, but they shouldn't. There is a bookmark feature in X that you can use. When you hit like, other people find out about it, you know? But
What's the bookmark feature? I don't do it.
yeah,
with this
you
stuff.
got to go into 3 dots and it's in there. But anyway, you know who's getting killed in Vegas right now? Josh McDaniels. He was trending the other day, and they're blaming a lot of what's going on now back to Josh McDaniels.
Well, they don't see. I think it's funny what's going on with the Raiders, and I'd be interested to see what ends up happening in this season because I was kind of surprised that they were able to beat Cleveland. It just shows you that Cleveland's offense is really struggling. They got what they wanted. You know, they got they got the player who had their backs and was going to smoke cigars with them when they beat the 1-win Giants.
I mean, the coach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But the
Player coach.
the former
Yeah,
player. They
right.
got the player who's going to
Yeah.
have, you know, he's got their back and everything, and now all of a sudden they don't like, you know, they're
Yeah.
kind of going nowhere.
Right.
They have no quarterback. They're not a very good team, and then you're seeing like Davante Adams wants out. He wanted Antonio Pierce last year.
Yep.
And now he wants out because feels like he's being disrespected, and this is what you get.
Yeah.
This is what you get. This is the fear of these guys. I think with Gerard Mayo, with D'Amico Ryans, you're not seeing that kind of insubordination, you know, with the player.
Yeah.
You know? No, I'm not telling
Yeah.
you that it's never going to
Yeah.
happen, but I mean, Mayo's been a coach almost as long as Pierce has.
Yeah.
And Pierce finished last year. And, you know, otherwise they're on the same level.
Yep.
So I just think sometimes you think that's what you want, like this freedom and
Right.
respect and treat me like a man.
It
And it doesn't work, and
not
then you
in
don't know what
football.
to do.
Like we've talked about, these guys are all alphas. These guys, you know, they want to be told what to do. They want to be put in positions to succeed. Believe it or not, regardless of what they say, you know, if you give them too much freedom, they're going to take it, and it's disorder. It's too many guys in a locker room to have too much
You're
freedom.
out of order.
Yeah, you gotta. I'm not saying that you have to be draconian about it, but you have to have order. You have to have structure. You have to have rules, and you have to have consequences when people break the rules. And it has to be consistent and transparent.
So I gotta just looking
So
at
there.
some things here. No, I totally agree. I'm looking at some things. You know, looking at the Dolphins and the Patriots. Do you want to know what the Dolphins score by quarter is? Take a guess.
3.
Their points by quarter,
I
each
don't know.
quarter.
Yeah.
10, 10, 7, 6. That's for the season.
Wow.
That's a game.
Yeah. 20. Wow. Like 30 points for the season or
30,
so.
yeah, 33 points.
Yeah.
But like 10, 10, 7, 6. I would bet the under. If you know, I know a lot of people. You know, all these game props that you can do now. I don't know if like DraftKings, if you're allowed to bet like the over under of a quarter, just the first quarter.
Yeah.
the over-under of the first quarter has to be like 3.
Yeah.
Because the Dolphins have scored 10 points in the first quarter all year. The Patriots have scored 7.
Jeez.
All year.
Yeah.
Like,
Stay
that's
tuned for
unbelievable.
the Patriots pregame show where that is actually one of our over-unders.
The first quarter?
Oh, really?
I didn't know that.
Okay.
I'm helping you out.
There you go.
Guy.
Guy, I already had it done. It's printed
Okay.
out.
Okay. Yeah. The Patriots, at least, 7 in the first. They do have 22 in the second quarter. Otherwise, it's similar, 10 and 13. So, otherwise,
Yeah.
they just explode in the second quarter, though. 22.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I mean, everyone's expecting a slog offensively.
Imagine if it
And
just turned out to be like
I was
a
just going to
shootout.
say, everyone's thinking that, and it'll be like 33-30, 35-33.
The only way it will be like that is if the teams turn the ball over multiple times each.
Yeah.
There's no way they're going 75, 80 yards
Yeah.
consistently, these two teams.
All right. Like I said, we got picks later. We got people coming later. So now's a good time to hear from our listeners. Emails at podcasts@patriots.com.
What do we got?
And the TPX hotline is 855-PATS-500. So let's get to the TPX hotline. We'll hit that first. Christian's in L.A. What's up, Christian?
Hey, you guys. How you guys doing today? Shout out to the Queen. Hey, guys, I wanted to give you guys credit because for the last, 5 years or so, you guys have done an amazing job of fielding these questions week after week, day after day with people wanting answers. And sometimes they want answers, from you guys directly, right?
Sure.
But I want to say, I get it. And so for me, I've adjusted what I'm looking for this season. I'm no longer looking for just the total number of wins. What I'm looking for, in essence, is does the Van Pelt system work? Like if we have better talent or, better class of talent, does, in essence, his system work? That's one thing I'm looking for, what I've adjusted to. And then secondly, I'm starting to try and emotionally separate the end of the last regime and the losses we took there with the beginning of this one, because it feels like it should be like the end of a 7-year or 6-year rebuild, but it's not, right? Because Bill never really did a rebuild. He tried to do sort of a continuation, which is why he took Mac Jones over Justin Fields. And that was the decline of that one. So do you guys separate, the decline of the last regime with, hey, relax, this is the first-year coach, first-year general manager, we got a rookie quarterback. How do you separate, the two regimes in the fans' heads of oh my God, it's been so many losses?
Yeah, no, it's a good question, Christian. Should you consider this part of what has happened over the last 4 years? It's hard not to, because Gerard's still here. He was there then. You re-signed a whole bunch of players who were there then. You didn't gut the place. You actually re-signed a lot of players that were here. So it's hard to say that this is a total rebuild at this point.
Right, like Bill actually did a total rebuild in 2020, and then he signed all those guys in 21.
Right.
Now, it didn't work.
Right.
But this is, I think, you're right. I think this is more of a continuation. Now, the big thing that Christian mentions is the quarterback.
Right.
And we won't know
and that's huge.
until Drake Maye plays.
So that new rebuild was supposed to start with Mac Jones, and it was a failure.
Correct.
But I was listening to Lombardi a few days ago, and he was, of course, defending Bill and hitting, ragging on the Patriots about, they didn't like anything Bill did, but they re-signed all his guys, Well, they weren't good then either, and now they're not good with those guys. But I think in Elliott Wolf's case, you had to sign somebody. You had to pay somebody.
And I think that's what they did, and that's why,
it's not like these guys are going to be part of the future that they sign.
Yeah, I mean, some of them might be, but I think you're nailing it. I've been somewhat critical of just so I keep saying bringing the band back, right? And I've taken some shots at that. Even though I disagree with it, I understand it. I understand what Gerard and Elliott Wolf were thinking in terms of we're a new regime. Let's retain some players that know us and understand what we're about and will be culture builders, for lack of a better term. And
I mean, otherwise,
that's why he retained so many guys.
Otherwise, you're going into a season with a bunch of disgruntled guys. It's not like you can just cut them and replace them with equal or better talent. That's unreasonable.
And in order to get the guys, if you were going to go and replace all of and by the way, I never advocated replacing all of those guys.
Right.
I just was a little surprised that they retained as many as they did. But if you were going to replace all those guys with some unrestricted free agents, you would have had to pay more for them.
Likely. Yeah.
So, and I understand what they were doing.
Yeah.
But to your point, how many of these guys will still be part of the future? I mean, some of them will. I mean, I think, like
Barmore, hopefully
if
will
Barmore
be.
is, okay with the blood clots and his career isn't ruined.
Right.
That's one. Duggar should be around for a little while, and Peppers. Those guys are young enough to be part of the defense moving forward. And, guys that probably won't be are guys like Hunter Henry.
Godchow.
He probably won't be. And some of the guys, David Andrews is a guy they extended. Obviously, he's dealing with physical problems even now. So not everybody they re-signed will be part of the future, but some of them will be. Some of them will be
They had to
cogs.
field a team. They had to pay people, and it made sense. Like you said, let's just keep these guys that know what we're doing. They know us. We know them. And, because you got to keep playing the games. You can't just, take the season off until you find all the right players. You got you got to keep playing. So, but I get what I get what Christian's saying. Like, how much do you kind of give them a break and say, okay, we're starting over this year?
Yeah, and I do give them that because it is, for them, it's year one.
Yeah.
It's not, to me, year one of the rebuild, but for Gerard Mayo and Elliott Wolf, it is year one.
Right.
That's fact.
Right. Doing it the way they want to do it.
Right.
Right. Let's go to the TPX hotline. We'll go to another Christian in Virginia. What's up, Christian?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good.
I just wanted to call in talking about Drake Maye yesterday, and I know confidence is a big thing that we've been talking about, and it was nice to hear Mike saying how he was interacting with people in the locker room. Just because of all the Mac Jones stuff, I feel like people have been expecting Drake Maye to have horrible confidence, and I feel like they're interpreting a lot of his being on the sideline. What are you expecting from him? He's not playing. The team's not playing well. I mean, he's not going to be all happy and smiles sitting there. He's paying attention, and there's not really much for him to be super happy about there. I don't know. I just think that's really overblown.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. We haven't seen that from Drake Maye. And by the way, he's got an earpiece in. So even when he's not standing right next to AVP or whatever, he's hearing everything that's being said.
Yeah, and I will just say that I've heard a lot of people wondering why he's not always right with Van Pelt and Brissett when Brissett's off the field. I haven't heard a lot of he doesn't look happy. I heard that from one person yesterday.
Yeah.
So the whole, just the overblown. I agree with Christian. It's not something that stood out to me. In the locker room, it's completely the opposite. He's always the kid just doesn't have any bad days. He always looks happy. But I haven't necessarily seen it on the sideline. We're pretty far up in the press box, so you can't really see a guy's face from where we sit. But I haven't heard a lot of that. I have heard a lot of people wondering why he's not more involved with the conversations on the sideline. But Fred's point is, he's listening.
And listen,
he's listening and learning.
With the way these games go, can you imagine the criticism if he was yucking it up on the sideline and laughing and all that? Or, not just him, but anybody?
It would be perceived
doesn't care.
Well, no, that's why I should be playing this guy. This guy can't run
that
the
too.
offense. That's how I know my guys would be doing it. Mike and Tony would be doing that.
Every one of these players should look kind of pissed on the sideline because things aren't doing well as a team. Thanks, Christian. Appreciate the call. Mike in Puerto Rico, you're up next.
Hey, y'all. How you doing today?
Good.
Mike, we got a lot of legs out of you yesterday.
I know.
It was great.
And after listening, well, yes and no. After listening to y'all yesterday and actually some of the feedback from the callers and the emailers, I was actually a little frustrated on how I came across as entitled, which is something that I am definitely not about. That's not me as a person or as a fan. I should have found words and a better tone to convey my frustration with the decisions from Mayo and Wolf and how it comes from a place of love and passion for the team and what a Patriots fan stands for.
Mike, I think people understand that. People know who you are.
You're not listening to this show if you don't love the Patriots.
Yeah, I think people know you too, Mike. I think they know that you're dyed in the wool and you just want better for your team. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I don't think that there were too many people that thought you didn't care.
No, and I appreciate that, Paul. I really do. Like it coming from you guys, it really means a lot to me. I've always said you guys are a big reason why I follow the team. Actually, you're a big reason why I fell in love with the team, and for the passion that I have on the team. So moving on, and I just have a question. I'm not listening live. I can't really see on YouTube, so I don't know who's there. But I was wondering, how would you all, if you feel that if you put an offense out there with Maye, and then just send three receivers out, receivers, tight ends, running backs, whatever, out on routes, and then just try to, quote unquote, maximize or scheme around just making sure that Maye has enough time, do you think we can win and make significant progress in our offense towards, building a bigger and better offense and hopefully start easing up on the protection?
Well, listen,
can we win that way?
Yeah, I mean, and thanks for the call. These guys have to get open.
Yeah, if you're consistently protecting with 7 players and only sending 3 out, no.
Yeah, they're gonna.
You can't win.
Now they're gonna say, okay, let's not bother going at the quarterback. Let's just flood zones. Let's just double cover guys. And I don't think right now, at least, we've got that one guy who can get open no matter what or draw attention, so that the other guys aren't getting.
Now that's stuff that you can do to certainly help the quarterback and max protect and occasionally, but you don't want to be an offense that's doing that on a consistent basis.
No, I mean, listen,
you need options in the passing game.
It comes down to talent. In the current state of the team, it's not talented enough to win consistently. That's going to take time. Let's go to Dan in Rhode Island. What's up, Dan?
Hey, how's it going?
All right.
Thanks for having me. Just a couple things. Definitely want to say, first and foremost, one thing about Gerard that he mentioned during his press conference from either yesterday or the day before. I know he talked about the sustainability of the offense, and he openly admitted that the scheme was not sustainable for winning games, even though obviously they went into the season with the intention, of course, of winning games and going through with this scheme. So I think that's a little bit hypocritical to kind of backstep on that. And
can you hold on one second, Dan? Because I think there's a little bit more to it than what you're saying. I don't think Gerard was saying the game plan that we went into the Cincinnati game with and won with is not sustainable. He's saying we need to be more productive on offense to win more than one game. Like, I don't think he's saying if we just want to run the ball and that's our game plan, I don't think he thinks that's not sustainable.
You're scoring 25
but you got to score more points.
Right.
Like they ran the ball but didn't score a lot of points that day. And I think that's what he's talking about. I don't necessarily think he thinks the scheme is wrong. The production is not, obviously. I read you the numbers, 52 points in 4 games. The production is just not there.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I think his direct quote was specifically that it was not sustainable. And
it wasn't sustainable because it's not enough production.
He was asked why it wasn't sustainable, and he said you have to score at least 21 points in this league to be competitive.
And don't forget what Gerard Mayo said, I don't know if it was the next week or the week after, when he's talking about how things will change each game. He said there might be some games where we throw it all over the place. So he's talking about producing. And, in that Cincinnati game, that was the plan to beat Cincinnati. But whatever the plan is, you got to produce. You got to produce points.
Right, and they didn't.
Yeah.
And that was his point. They didn't score enough.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely some good points. Thanks, guys.
Okay, thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Another Dan. We're getting doubled up here.
Double
Dan
Christians, double Dans.
Yeah, Dan in Minnesota. What's up, Dan?
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Thanks for having me on. I got just one statement, and question to ask. First of all, I guess the earliest Patriots games I remember watching were the early 80s, so I've seen a lot of bad teams. And I remember saying when the Patriots beat Seattle in the Super Bowl the way they did, I'm never going to complain again, man. The rest from here is gravy. And so I try not to complain too much. But I still want to be entertained, of course.
Yeah. By the way, winning that
question I
way
have
isn't
for you
sustainable. But anyway, go ahead.
The question I have for you is, do you think that losing David Andrews for the season has changed Mayo and AVP's plan as to when to start Drake Maye?
Yeah, that's a question a lot of people are asking. Like, if the offensive line was bad before and you were concerned for Drake Maye, what are you feeling now? Let's see what Leverett does. I mean, he was okay. Like, he didn't fall all over himself in the last game. If he can just play competently at the center position, I don't think that changes.
And I don't know, but I don't think that should have anything to do with it, and I don't think it does. I think for Gerard Mayo and Alex Van Pelt, it's about Drake Maye. And when they feel Drake Maye is ready, I think that's the plan, is to play him when they think he's ready. I'm hoping that that's the case, that it's about Drake Maye and not about what's around him, because if it's about what's around him, you're not going to see him this year at all.
Yeah.
Because they're not ever going to feel good about the offensive line this season.
Right.
Yeah, the one thing I wonder about is maybe earlier they thought, well, he'll be ready as long as David Andrews is there to make the line calls. But now that he's not in there,
no, it's definitely a good it's a good point, Dan. It's to be honest, as much as I want to play Maye, I wrote my notebook this week that maybe this isn't the week to do it. You know, the first week that you got another starter at center. So I think you're right to be thinking that way, but I just hope that it's not one of those things that's a deal breaker and they say, well, we're just going to put him on ice and wait for the whole year.
Yeah. I know.
I think he's going to be way more entertaining to watch.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for the call, Dan. I mean, I know in an AVP system, the center makes the line calls.
Yeah.
I like it better when your quarterback is doing that. He's standing up. He can, your center is like down looking at people's knees and like the quarterback is upright looking. He can survey the field. That makes more sense to me for any kind of call, audible, whatever's happening pre-snap, to have it come from the quarterback.
Yeah, now Alex was asked about that today, and Van Pelt and DeMarcus Covington both spoke today in press conferences, and he said, yeah, it's going to be more, like Brissett's going to have to do more of it because, it's obviously a change, but he says, Leverett's been trained for this and, during the course of the training camp and whatnot. So that's the way they do it. I don't know enough about it to know like what's the better way to do it. I think if you have Tom Brady, the more that Tom Brady's involved with the thought process, the better. But my guess is that not every quarterback has that ability, and the idea is to take a little off the quarterback's plate.
Yep.
And put it somewhere else.
Kendall's in North Carolina. Hey, Kendall.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey.
How does the whole offensive line end up on the injury report? Like, do we not have the worst luck in NFL?
I couldn't hear you, Kendall. I'm sorry. It's a little muffled.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I just couldn't understand what you said.
Yeah, I said, how does the whole offensive line end up on the injury report? Do we not have the worst luck in the league?
The worst luck? I think a lot of teams are dealing with mass injuries on the offensive line. I think Cleveland's had the whole line out all 4 games.
Yeah.
I just think there's a lot of injuries, and
thanks for the call.
You look around the league and you see the key players that are going down. The Lions just lost their standout center, Frank Ragnow, for the season. He was out 2 weeks ago. There's a lot of attrition, and I know that we seems like we talk about it every year in September. It seems like a lot of big injuries this year, and they're due. It does seem that way, but it happens every year.
It happens every year, and sometimes it happens to certain units.
Yep.
Some teams get lucky, and the injuries get spread out, and you can kind of cover it up. But when they happen in a condensed way to a certain unit, it really amplifies it. And when you're starting the way the Patriots did without legitimate tackles, that makes it worse. And when you're behind and you're overmatched with yourself, and maybe that's some of it too. So it's just a perfect storm of badness.
Speaking of badness,
what? Yeah, no, it's
How dare you?
He goes into the locker room and mingles, sad because Evan stole his jingle. This is Mike's new song. Mike is back.
Mike is back to
And Alex. Alex was in there too.
And Alex.
Yeah. Well, today it felt like we were just sitting around waiting for Kendrick Bourne the whole time. I think yesterday was Nick Leverett, where everyone goes right to the locker, sets up,
like camped out.
and then we're just sitting there till like 10 minutes left in the thing, and then Kendrick finally came out, and obviously he's excited to be back, and had a lot of learning experience there from his injury. But
There's no chance he plays this week, right?
Oh,
I don't.
I think there's a chance.
I would lean no, just because he did mention he's like, I'm still a little limited. So
but he was on the injury report.
Yeah, but he said that being on the PUP list, he was basically recovered this summer, but he hadn't really been able to start training and doing football things. So by being on PUP here for the first 4 weeks of the season, he's been able to kind of get a little bit more up to speed with football. But I wouldn't.
So you got the vibe no.
I got the vibe not yet.
Okay.
But I could be wrong.
Dussault says no
Dussault,
Bourne this
colon,
week.
Bourne not going. But we'll see. But otherwise, kind of quiet. A lot of other small conversations going around. But
Kind of quiet in the locker room.
I mean, I'm not saying that in like a bad way of like, oh, they're not ready for the game. They just, some days there's a bunch of different people have scrums and there's a lot going on, and other days it's, one guy has a scrum and then there's a lot of other small side conversations going on. I was hoping to talk to Mapu and Taki because Stacy said they were okay to chat with now that they've returned to practice. So, but those guys did not talk. So
They were not talking or not there.
I saw Mapu briefly, and he turned down an interview request, and then Taki was in there also briefly, but like at the end, just kind of passed through. I saw.
It's
Maybe
like a
somebody grabbed
walkthrough
it.
situation.
Yeah.
They duck into the equipment room
Right,
or
they
the
see.
showers.
It's not quite the Dante Hightower or Hightower with poking that door down that other end of the locker room, and
He'd have the countdown. He'd open the door and go, 10 more minutes? Okay, good.
Well, that's the thing I was thinking yesterday with Nick Leverett, that people kind of like, I don't know, camping out at his locker for, it was literally the whole time, and I'm like, he probably just keeps peeking out and seeing this and wants
ain't
to
going
mess
out
with
there.
people.
Or
I would
having-
personally, I would.
Having somebody report to him. Is the coast clear?
Yeah.
Not yet, Nick.
Well, the guys are going in. They're like, yo, Leverett,
They
they're waiting
got
for
you
you.
there.
They make those comments all the time.
The media's not really that bad. You just go out and talk to them.
I think if I was a player, I'd have like a little candy dish at my locker.
Oh yeah,
That's a good idea.
So
nice.
when I'm not there, people can come by and take candy.
That's a good idea.
No, nobody better touch anything in your locker, otherwise you might get tackled and
You should.
hogtied.
You should.
I also love that. I mean, I almost feel like they're doing it on purpose. It's like on one of those middle tables in the middle of the locker room. There's just a playbook. Like it looks almost like an old school playbook, and it just says like Patriots offense on it, and it's just been sitting there for like I don't
It's
know.
like
the
a
last-
booby trap.
Like 2
They're
weeks.
waiting for the
Yeah,
person.
no, it's
Open it up and say, you
I
should
know.
not be looking at this.
Right.
Waiting for the embedded dolphin to come in and
Yeah,
take
I know,
it.
totally. It's just been sitting there the whole time. So, but that's good. I like that. A
But
little
didn't
subterfuge
they used to,
there.
some teams, the coach this is back when they had physical playbooks and it wasn't like on an iPad. They would put like $100 in the last page or something like that.
It's like a draft thing.
And say,
Do that to a draft, like a guy that you just drafted.
That's interesting.
Say,
I like that.
give this back when you're finished or something like that, so they know that they actually went through the playbook.
Do they get to keep the $100, or then is it about like, did you return the $100?
Right.
Did you keep the
Yeah.
$100?
But it would be some form of test to make sure that they actually
read it.
opened
Yeah.
it up and read it.
So I'm probably going to screw this up like I always do, like with the details. But I think there's a famous Jamarcus Russell story with the Raiders. Like they had a bunch of plays that they downloaded into his device, and they said, so like go home. This is like whatever they're doing, for that week. So what you think? What are your thoughts? And he like came up with like all these kinds of different things. Well, they like to do this. They didn't put any plays in. They didn't put any plays in, so they knew that he never even logged on.
That's like the joke they
to do
played
it.
on Gronk last weekend. Did you guys see that?
No.
Oh my God. So they made up a player, a Pro Bowl tight end, and they just started talking about him, how this team's going to get him back from the IR. this all-pro caliber tight end, and they're starting to talk about him, and you can just see in his face that Gronk has no idea who this player is. And then someone from the broadcast is like, yeah, but how do you think like having only 2 fingers is going to affect him? You guys I can't believe you didn't see it. You guys have to go back and watch it. It's so funny. Good. It was his face, just like you can tell the moment that it hits him that he has no clue what anyone's talking about, and he's just going with it.
You guys are going to laugh.
On the fly.
Especially like the listeners will laugh because I never talk like this. I like Gronk so much that I can't watch him on TV. It makes me sad.
Why? Because
I saw him do a business interview recently.
Yeah. Like,
he's not. I don't know if he's. It's just his vocabulary's not there.
He's really
it's the
bad
vocabulary.
at it. And I like him so much.
Can't do
I won't do it.
Well,
I'm
this
not.
is worth
I'm
seeking
only.
out,
I'm only going to
promise.
think of Gronk in that way, like
Yeah.
dominant.
He's a party guy.
Well, that was how I thought when they
Yo
first
soy
drafted him.
fiesta.
Stick to what you know.
It's going to be so sad. Like I thought in my mind that eventually Gronk would be like veteran, boring, serious Gronk, but he never became that. You know, he's always just been the kind of wide-eyed.
But he's just like mispronounces names all the time and like doesn't really have anything to say. It's like the other thing that could happen to anybody.
Yeah.
Like you could do that to anybody at
Well,
the
it got me thinking.
But
like,
you
this
could do
be
that to
funny play
anybody
some
at the
pranks on
draft.
people.
Yeah.
And that's when you find out the real guys from the frauds.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how many times we get phone calls asking about the 3 tackles and they rattle off the names and I'll just say I don't know who that is. Because I'm not going to fall into one of those. Like I don't know most of the names in the draft like you guys do.
Especially right now.
No, I'm talking about like when we're doing it.
Oh.
Like if it's not one of the
Why am I
like
paying him?
if it's not one of the to know the guys that you're going to have a chance to take.
Right.
Like not some obscure guy from Slippery Rock.
From Keene State.
It's like Will Campbell, Kelvin Banks. What more do you need to know?
Yeah.
All right.
Like,
we're
I don't
two
need to know. I
tackles.
don't know. I need to know the 17th tackle on the board. I leave that to Barth and Evan.
That's what they love. That's their thing.
All right, we're rifling through calls and emails here in anticipation of the picks. Anything else you want to bring up before we get back
In
to
anticipation of the
our
picks.
listeners?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right, let's get back to the TPX hotline. We'll go to James in North Carolina. What's up, James? Jimmy.
How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey.
All right, good. So, yesterday, Fred asked, not as a question, but he brought up, why are we fans?
I brought that up. Okay.
And
yeah.
it's worth an answer. Those of us that were around before Brady, we've seen all this before. Do we want to start the kid? Yes. But he's got to be put in a position to succeed, whatever that takes. And we've got no influence.
What's going on? Can we what's going on over there, James? You seem distracted.
Are you at work? Are you hiding from your boss right now?
Are you like on a treadmill or what's going on?
He's under a desk.
I think it might be a cell
Okay,
issue.
we're gonna move on from James.
So I think his
He's
point
having
was
trouble
like
gathering his thoughts.
he's been a fan before the success, and he's going to continue to be a fan after. I think he sort of misunderstood. I don't think you were asking people why are you paying. I'm saying I think Fred's point was if you're so upset, then maybe this isn't giving you the happiness that it should be giving you if you're like that fan. By the way, Mike called in today.
Oh, yeah.
He was a little upset not upset, but he was disappointed that some people sort of questioned his loyalty.
He's fine though.
All right,
good.
you talked
He's
about
good.
the later.
I think I did a good job for a change.
All right.
For a change, I actually helped.
Yeah.
You diffused an issue?
I de-escalated it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very big of
Normally,
you.
normally I'm tossing a grenade.
Yeah, you're with kerosene. Just
Paul on the suicide hotline.
You
know what? Just do it.
Normally, I'm like the guy who came in to try to close out that Braves game the Mets game last night, just reeking of kerosene, giving up 2-run homers everywhere. Bye. Yeah, that's me.
Mark's in Connecticut. What's up, Mark?
How's everybody doing this afternoon?
Okay.
Hi, Mark. I'm doing fine.
So I don't know about everybody else, but I know a lot of people that I talk to. We kind of all feel the same way, and we're tired of watching the Jacoby Brissett era. You know, he can't make the throws. I mean, he's literally just a what do you want to call it? Like a punching bag out there. And I feel like Drake Maye, if Drake Maye gets in there with his ability and his athleticism, and especially with the tackle position, the way that it is, you can move the offensive line and, create different kinds of plays and schemes for the kid to be successful. I just wanted to get you guys' take on that.
Well, I think that's all of our hope, that he'll be able to do things Brissett can't.
Yeah.
And so you run the same play, it just looks different.
Yeah, I know that he could do things that Brissett can't. I just
Thanks,
don't know
Mark.
if he's ready to do that yet. That's all.
Yeah, I think the plays that, move in the pocket, off platform, Drake, has the athleticism to get out. It's just, is he going to be able to run conventional offense and have a drop back and step to, a little bit to his left to where the pocket is, that subtle pocket movement that we saw, run to elite level for 20 years around here. Those are the plays that concern me. It's, I have no question that he'll be able to get out of some of the stuff when it breaks down, but, from play to play, when it doesn't break down and there's, the pocket's a little bit muddy and, you have to buy a little bit of time with a small shuffle step this way and still get the ball out quick. Those are some of the nuance to the position.
Just
that'll
plus
take some
regular
time.
running the plays, does he throw the ball to the right place?
Yeah.
Often enough. That's, I know physically he's better. I just, I don't know mentally if he's ready.
I just am excited about his arm too with some of these screen passes
how can you
and
not be?
stuff. Like, it's just some of these plays that seem to take forever to develop, and it just feels like he'll get it there a beat faster and give some of these receivers and backs a chance to make a move a little bit more. Because it seems like right now it's just slow getting over there, and it's already completely snuffed out by the time the guy gets the ball.
I'm not necessarily thinking that that's going to be different. But the rest of it, I can't wait to see, because I just want to see it if it looks different with somebody else playing the position.
Yeah.
Or is it just like, because the slow part that you're talking about, Mike, with Brissett, it's not just, to me, he holds the ball for a long time. He takes a long time to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Like, once he decides I'm going to throw it, it takes a while.
Yep.
And I'd like to see if it looks different with another guy playing.
For sure.
Lots of emails coming in at podcast.
Had a lot of calls today.
At
You notice
patriots.com. A lot of calls, a lot of emails. People are excited. I think it's because of the picks, but I'm not sure. Let's see. Bart in Poland writes in, I think there has to be a conversation about Mike McDaniel playing the Miami. Seems appropriate. We've seen teams lose their starting quarterbacks in the recent past and still continue being competitive. Packers with Willis, Browns with Flacco, Bengals with Browning, Ravens with Huntley, Vikings with Dobbs, etc. Of course, their performance took a dip.
The Ravens were not competitive with Huntley, but the rest of them I would give you.
Of course, their performance took a dip, but they were still at least average NFL teams. I think we can all agree that Tua is a pretty good quarterback, but nobody would have him in the top 5 or 8. So you tell me that the Dolphins, who have a decent defense, freaking Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle in a supposed QB-friendly scheme, look like the 2023 Panthers? It has to be coaching, right? Also, when you look at the Dolphins' record versus winning teams, you may make a case for McDaniel being on the hot seat, maybe not this year, but definitely next year if he keeps up.
It's all fair.
Yeah.
That's all fair.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, now he's not going anywhere because they just gave him a big extension, but that's all the criticism is fair. They haven't beaten good teams, and without their quarterback, they've fallen apart. This is like 2 or 3 different times it's happened, too.
Yeah, such an interesting conversation. I think we're so used to the conversation around here, which we all know what that is, a lot of it relating to weapons, but to have those two guys and just, I've been amazed at the drop off, and it's head scratching, especially because our point of view on Tua is that we can't beat him. So every game I've ever seen in person, Tua has lit up the Patriots. Maybe lit up is a little bit strong.
Pretty close,
but
though.
Pretty close.
Pretty close.
Some competitive games in there for sure. But my warped sense of Tua is people talk about he stinks. I'm like, well, man, every time I seem to see, he's throwing these like laser pinpoint accuracy throws down that Tyreek Hill just swoops through his zone and it just drops right where it needs to be and he's gone to the races.
Yeah.
But it can't be so Tua specific. I think it's a really interesting.
See, I don't think it's just Tua specific, but I will say that I would put more heat on Chris Greer than McDaniel, because I think they've had all of those pieces on offense now. This is the 3rd season, and they've yet to address the offensive line. They've yet to really bolster the defense. And what good of having 2 great receivers if you lose your quarterback?
Yeah.
So you have nothing to fall back on because you can't run the ball without the threat of the pass, obviously, because they couldn't run the ball the other day at all. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think everything the emailer said about McDaniel, I would say, is absolutely true. They haven't beaten good teams, and they fall apart without their quarterback. So what exactly are you doing to scheme it up and make us productive?
Yeah.
Nothing.
And it's interesting because I feel like when Mike McDaniel came on the scene, he was like this young, quirky guy, and he just got so like lifted up by the media. And it's like, okay, how much of that was fluff, and how much of it was like warranted?
It's the tight pants thing, and it's like, you know,
He's
some
still
of the
young
some
and
of
quirky.
the
He
tight,
still has tight pants.
some of the tight pants apologists would tell you that a great offensive coordinator can make it work. He can scheme it up, you know.
Right.
And you're seeing like, well, this tight pants guy can't seem to
See,
do
I
it
would
without
say,
Tua.
I'm totally in agreement with both of you, and I would say the criticism that you're getting here in New England is similar in that I understand that you have some shortcomings, like you, like the emailer said. I'm sorry to keep calling him the emailer. I forget his name, but he made so many good points about the quarterback leaving. And all the other teams that were able to not be anywhere near as good, but they were able to play. I read off. Do you know the scores by quarter this season? Miami,
I can't imagine.
This is cumulative.
10, 10, 7, 6. That's for the season.
Yeah, starts bad, gets worse.
Yeah, I would hammer the under in the first quarter. By the way, the Patriots have scored 7 in the first quarter all season.
Ooh, I like that. Hammer the under.
But I would say that I understand that you're limited offensively. You don't have a lot of, they have a left tackle who never plays, in Terran Armstead, right? So, like, that hurts. Your offensive line is already weak, and then the best player on it is out. Much like David Andrews is probably going to be out for the rest of the season. I understand all of that. I understand the limitations personnel-wise. I'm not expecting you to be the high-flying offense that you were, but shouldn't you be a little better than this? Like, can't you scheme it up to do something a little bit more than what they've done the last 2 games? 3 points and 12 points, or whatever it's been the last 2 games.
I know.
And for the Patriots, I would say the same thing. Like, I understand that you do not have all pros at all these positions. You don't have a lot of weapons on offense. But can't you move the ball a little? Like Alex Van Pelt said today, like, it was kind of striking to hear him say, we need to get in the red zone. Like, most times you say, we got to be better in the red zone. They don't have to be better in the red. They have to get there.
Yeah.
Like, they get to the red zone, like, once a game. Like, why can they not move the ball? At least a little.
On the other hand, Jeffrey from Canada says, I honestly think the Dolphins blow our doors off this week.
Oof.
I think they see the Patriots as a get-right game and save their season. Whoever they start at quarterback will only be marginally worse than our 9-year journeyman, but at every other position group, they are better or the same as we are. Talent wins out.
I feel like we haven't really talked about this game much. I
didn't.
just,
You want to talk about it?
I think
Talk about
It is
it.
Thursday.
Talk about it.
I think it's a huge game. I think it is a huge game. And I don't, like, we get into must win, and that usually relates to making the playoffs. But I
Must win
can't
for
imagine what
morale.
it's like around here next week if they lose to
You're
this
going must
Miami
win for the
team.
regime.
Must win for the regime. For the, for all the things that we talked about for why the Bengals win was huge, was some buy-in, some validation, all those words that we used. And not to say that everybody's going to be out, but this is the kind of game against a divisional opponent that you should be competitive with year in and year out. No matter what your team kind of looks like, I would expect, like, these are the teams you know well. We see it more often than not, I would say, that, and even going back to the dynasty, that these games were often tighter than you would expect. But what does this look like next week if this Patriots team can't beat Tyler Huntley and the Dolphins? Even when 2 years ago they were able to beat a Dolphins team with a backup quarterback. So that, that's what it kind of takes. But we know how bad those teams have been. I see this as a must-win game for this team, and I don't know, and I think Paul is right. Like,
Must win or what?
You have the fear of losing some people.
You got problems, and it's almost like you just have to check the box, because, like, get to the point where everyone can make the faux claim next week that they turned the corner there. Like, for me, it's like
faux claim.
Well, like, everyone's gonna be like, see, they shut out. Like you have to earn the right
what's coming, Mike.
to
You
be
know
able
what's
to
coming.
flex on this win. And for me, it's like you just have to check this box so that it's not look out below next week that we are not only are we struggling in the division, like, this is like we can't even beat backup quarterbacks now.
All that said, though, what the emailer said is probably true. You probably have a slightly better quarterback, but every other position group, at worst, is a wash. And
It's not easy.
And the Dolphins have edges at some of them.
And you still feel like you need to see something from the Patriots probably that you haven't seen yet this year. I mean, to the point of unsustainable. Like, I mean, maybe you can say that this week that no turnovers, fast start, and extra, good finish, all that stuff, and I'm sure it probably would, but you're only a Tyreek or Jalen Waddle, and we've seen plenty of those over the year where they catch a little slant and bye-bye.
I was glad to listen to hear Covington talk about that today. Like they have those guys, and that's how they're going to get it over the top, and that's how they're going to beat you. Because I do think that's
Couple
what
big
Miami
plays.
watches tape too, just like you do, and that's what worked against. So that's worked for the Niners. And if I were Mike McDaniel, I'd be looking to get the ball in those guys' hands down the field.
That's what's scary. This is because it's kind of a must-win, but it's not going to be easy, and it only takes a couple brain farts. I don't know. We saw Jabril Peppers in the locker room today. Like, I don't want to lose both safeties. It doesn't sound like Duggar's going to be out there, but to roll out there with maybe Jalen Hawkins and Del Pettis playing most of the safety snaps against those two players, it could take one or two brain farts, and that's the difference in this game with how much they both struggle to score.
Yeah. Mike writes in, I've heard a phrase a lot from both this show and others that, quote, eventually Drake needs to play, with various reasons like he needs to learn to play with pressure or we need to figure out what we have. Ignoring the disagreement we have about what is reasonable pressure, I want to understand, what does eventually mean? I always interpret it as, I've waited long enough and I want this now. Is that right? What are your individual bars for when we actually reached eventually? For me, eventually doesn't apply to year one, even if Drake would make games more fun.
I don't know if you
My definition is when he's ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if he's ready to play, I don't see any reason why to keep trotting out a guy who's not as good as he is physically.
Yeah. That's the internal thing, and we'll never know
And
that
I don't
for
know
sure.
it. I don't know
And
the answer.
Externally, I'd say it's a week-to-week thing for me now, and I think, the way you laid it out on Felger and Mass yesterday, of just not feeling great about Nick Leverett first start at center for the Patriots. I mean, you're going to probably have to start Drake Maye behind Nick Leverett this season if you put him in. So you have to bite the bullet on that, but I'm in a week-to-week basis, and that's kind of my thing of this week. Why not this week? But if they lose to the Dolphins and it's another lackluster effort from the offense, and Jacoby Brissett you feel like is turning the ball over or missing throws that are there and missing opportunities, then I don't know. It could happen as soon as next week.
I'll say two things about it. Like, again, to me, it's more about Drake Maye than it is about everything around him. And Mike is right. Like, we don't know when the coaches think Drake Maye is ready mentally to handle a game. But the other part is, what if Drake Maye is ready and he's playing well in practice the way they gushed last week, right? The coaches have been, we're all talking about how good he's playing.
Players too. Yeah.
Don't you think the players are going to look at this at some point and say, why are we not playing our best option at quarterback?
Yep. I mean, and just to echo on that, like, the players are saying it too. It's not just the coaches. The players are telling multiple media members in the locker room that he's really playing well in practice. So, it's not a campaign of don't worry, everything's great behind the scenes. I do think there are, but you're right. At a certain point, if he's chucking the ball down, Pop Douglas is catching bombs in practice, and then he gets in and he's like, I'm getting open. You just can't give me the ball.
And my feel is I want to get Drake Maye as close to his potential as quickly as I can. It's less about I want to find out about him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because virtually no matter what happens this year, he's going to be the quarterback next year. I don't need to find out if he's going to be my quarterback in 25. I don't need to find that out. I know it. I just took him with the 3rd overall pick. But let's just say he has a ceiling of being a top 10 quarterback. I want to get him enough experience so he's as close to being a top 10 quarterback as quickly as I can. So I want him to reach his ceiling in a year and a half, not 3 years. You know what I'm saying? The Packers will tell you,
but you're going to ruin him, Paul.
No, but the Packers will tell you, well, that's what it worked out for Jordan Love. That was great. They didn't have to wait 3 years of misery to get there.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they had Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
The Patriots don't have that same luxury. I get it. I know that people
And
are
Aaron Rodgers had
people are
Brett
afraid.
Favre.
People
And
are scared to
Steve
death
Young had Joe Montana.
of ruining the guy,
That's
and I
the
just
thing.
don't think
So-
there's a lot of examples of that. Sorry, Alex.
No, I was talking over you too, but that's the thing is so many people make that argument of like, but this player waited, but this player waited. Okay, yeah, who would want Aaron Rodgers to come out of a game
Yeah.
for,
Right.
you know what I mean? It's
Right.
it's a totally, it's like apples to oranges. It's such a different scenario.
That's that's like what my perspective is this isn't changing horses midstream. Like this is a rebuild. This is a Drake May's going to take lumps. Like he's going to have bad losses that he has to learn from and use to, so next time when he goes down to Miami or, has to play in Buffalo, that he's got something to build off of. And, he knows what these defenses kind of look like and has some experience in these different stadiums, but it's not, he's going to step in and all of a sudden everything's going to be roses again.
Vincent writes in, he wants to know what happened to the chat on YouTube. I'll be perfectly upfront with people. There's a few bad apples that were really nasty, so we've shut down the chat on YouTube until such time we can maybe implement some type of filtering software. So it's unfortunate that some bad apples have to ruin it for everybody else, but that's what we've done for
One
now.
bad apple spoils it for the
That's
whole
what
bunch.
we've done for now. So that's why the
I didn't know
chat's,
about this. What is
Yeah, we had some racist people.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, those aren't good.
That's
No.
not a bad apple. That's an a-hole.
Yeah. So, but we'll get it back up once we figure out how to filter certain things out.
So just let me, this
Yeah.
is sort of what I'm talking about. Like, and obviously we'd all sort of bite the bullet if we turned out to be like this. But like Aaron Rodgers, okay? So he had Brett Favre, and that's great. So they were able to not play him for 3 full seasons, okay? Again, you had a Hall of Famer playing instead. So you were able, but here's what I'm looking to avoid. In year 4, Aaron Rodgers takes over as the starter, and they go 6-10 because he's not ready.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm like?
Yeah, you want to get the 6-10 this year.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to get the 6-10 out of the way as fast as I can because that's what happens to most of these guys.
Yep.
They're not all like C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
Right. He's an anomaly.
And advance in the playoffs as a rookie.
Yeah.
So and then all of a sudden in year 2, he's 11-5. I'm looking to avoid the delay to start, followed by the delay to get good, followed by this is
Right.
where we want to be.
And now we gotta give him a
obviously,
contract.
if Drake May isn't good for 4 years, but turns out to be Aaron Rodgers, I think we'd all say, well, I'll take that. You're probably not going to get 4 years to get good, the way Aaron Rodgers did.
Yeah.
Chris in New Hampshire writes in, callers, he says, please stop stating your resume. I've been watching since Joe Karp, Paul Kittredge, and Ed McCrillis of the Boston Bulldogs. No one cares. It adds no gravitas to your call. And he's looking forward to the newsletter. So, all right. We're going to take a break. My food's here. When we come back, more calls and emails. By the way, thank you. Lots of calls, lots of emails today. We'll get right back to them after this, and, of course, picks, so we got to hurry. Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
Oh no.
replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
Yeah, I think it. You look back at the film; it was just execution. Execution in a lot of heightened situations where there was third down. Key key plays and drives and things like that. I think it really came down to execution. And going forward, and obviously, we got a new quarter of our season coming up right now. So the mindset is, kind of not to like clear the slate, but it's got a fresh start, and get ready for essentially week one. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where we are right now. And a lot of guys are excited about this opportunity as far as starting the second quarter of our season. And getting this thing off to the right foot. Obviously, being at home, have been at home for a while, so get to play in front of our fans, and so yeah. Whoa. Not at all. I mean, we, that's kind of what practice is for a lot of times, and you get those reps with a lot of the different guys. So, obviously playing in the game with Nick, obviously having that, rapport. That's a good word I just used. That rapport with him, and and building on that, and yeah. Yeah, it's tough, man. That one hurt me. One of the key reasons why I wanted to come back here because of my past relationship with him, and it's tough when a guy like that goes down because he's not going down for anything minor. I talked to him this morning, and and he's like, man, I think I'm I'm like, Dave, like, come on, man, like as much as I would love for you to, but it's just he means so much to this team. Not only just on the field but off the field. His presence, in the locker room, obviously in this community. He's been here for so long, and it's like you wish you had 53, David Andrews.
Jacoby, what are some of those things that David brings to the table that we don't get to see every day that you get to see around him, and just obviously the center position being as important as it is?
I mean, I would say start with knowledge of the game. He kind of runs the show out there. I'm kind of just co-hosting when he's out there. His toughness, I don't think people understand how tough he is, and the things he's battled, through his career, and still, he's happy-go-lucky to be out there and just a childlike energy, and his play, just speaks for itself. When you see him when he's healthy, man, and see him playing, it's like he's up there with the top guys in this league, and and a guy that has won a lot of football in this league, and has seen a lot of football, and it's obviously gonna be tough to fill that void. We obviously have to, but like I said, it's tough losing him.
With you getting hit and sacked, and with him, obviously struggling, how do you avoid like a pity party on your flight home, even from San Francisco, because of what's happened in the first quarter of time?
Yeah, I don't think it's time for the pity party. I don't think we have time for a pity party. So. We kind of understand, like, going forward, this second quarter, Mayo kind of emphasized that, our offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, special teams coach kind of emphasized that in our respectable rooms about, this second quarter of our season. And the first quarter was what the first quarter was. It's no escaping it, but you get a chance to make a new second quarter, and start new momentum, and start a new junction of the season. And a lot of guys, and I know everybody is excited about that opportunity, and it starts today on practice field.
Last week about reflecting, and you talked a lot about reflecting last week. Last couple of days, how do you mentally kind of recoup, re-prepare, and get going again for a new game this week?
That's part of the league, the good thing was we had a long flight. The bad thing was it was a long flight, but you couldn't sleep on the plane, so thought about the game, watched the game, and kind of flushed it, and kind of just moved on, and then obviously come in and watch it with the team, and get our corrections and things like that. But yeah, that's just how the league works. You can't dwell on the past, good or bad. You kind of gotta keep moving forward.
Kobe, I know Miami, this week's opponent, that was a previous stop for you, and you played with Tua. Just curious if you have any relationship with him, if you reached out to him or anything like that.
Yeah, we talked at the beginning of the season, and then I think I sent him a text. Maybe I remember, but yeah, a little relationship there. Yeah.
Disappointed that you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. I don't want to see no player get injured. No matter what the case may be. Obviously somebody that I know for sure. And just hoping that he continues to recover and get healthy.
Jacoby, Gerard just said, after the Bengals win, that's not a sustainable way
for the team to win going forward for the rest of the season, not being able to score more than 20 points. Is that a message that he's communicated to offensive players behind the scenes? And what ways do you see the team improving their ability to score more points in a game?
Well, you mean I and the offense. Yeah, he's definitely conveyed that message. And that's what we're working to try to do, and figure out. And obviously we have game plans in place and things and we're trying to execute it. And that's when I kind of go back to the first question. It's just the execution, And I think that's really what Gerard is really harping on us about, is just execution, and especially in a lot of those key moments in those situational in the parts of the game, whether it's, first down coming out off the sideline, or, third downs, staying on the field and things like that. Because when we get drives going, we get drives going. And then, obviously finishing in the red zone. And so, I definitely think this quarter of our season is about us, and our execution and really, kind of growing up as a team and as individuals.
After the game the other day, Gerard said schematically he would have liked to see the offense be able to get the ball out a little bit more quickly. Do you feel like we've been given enough in the way of answers to be able to get rid of the ball before pressure is bearing down on it?
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of a lot of different things, but yeah.
Jacoby, I want to play off Phil's question a little bit. Quarterback's job, part of it is to be able to read the field and make reads. You've been under pressure a lot, obviously. How does that pressure that you're under affect you in terms of the reads you're able to make for individual plays?
It definitely plays a part in it, and that's the good thing about being early in the season and being able to go back and watch the film and now, like I said, it's the second quarter now. So now how do you get to those reads faster? Get the ball out faster, and I think that's my job, obviously, and obviously AVP's job, and honestly, all of our jobs really is to find ways to where because teams are going to pressure us, and we're very aware of that. So now it's about how do we answer and combat that and moving forward.
Even adding to that, you mentioned Jalen Tolkien, the trust that you had going down the field with him against the Niners. Is that something that's kind of been building behind the scenes, and also?
And now, great moments in history.
So when you say you're a defensive front seven guy, what does that mean? Like, like
I just love it. It's my favorite part of the team building and how they put it together and where the guys win. Are you guys all looking at each other, making fun of me?
Nerd alert!
Yes.
Nerd alert! Paul's rolling his eyes.
Well, I didn't roll my eyes. I was just making fun of him.
Well, it's just hilarious because when he talks about defensive line guys, his voice changes a little bit.
It
has like a sparkle.
Yeah, we had the greatest quarterback in the history of the game. More
he's gone.
interested in Lawrence Guy.
Yeah.
No disrespect to Lawrence.
I love it. No, you're totally right.
That's another great moment from
All right, back here on Patriots Unfiltered, 855-PASS-500 is the TPX hotline. Podcasts at patriots.com is the email address. Burton Island writes in as we wait for Evan to show up. He says, my three favorite aspects of Evan returning from practice. One, his theme song, which is superior to Mike's. Sorry, Deuce. Two, when Fred asked if there was any grousing. 3, when Evan is put on the spot and asked to settle an argument from earlier in the show when he wasn't there.
You do that a lot. You do that a lot.
Also, minor complaint for Fred. You ended last Thursday's show with, I'll talk to you on Tuesday. Now, come on.
I noticed that, too.
I don't even know what that's all about.
Tuesday.
He always says, see you next Tuesday.
No, I know what it's about. I'm saying I don't know why you didn't say it. They got to him.
Mitch in Albany, I was looking for a TV. He says, I had the same experience with Vizio. Bought 2 about 9 years ago, and they both completely died within a week of each other a few months ago. Really a shame that Speed Queen doesn't make TVs. I agree, because it would last. It would be hard on the shows, but
did you ask Alex?
Huh?
Did you ask? That went over my head for a second. Did you ask Alex?
What about
she
TVs?
knows? She knows about all these.
From
she
TVs?
She knows a lot of things.
She has a random.
When it comes to like manufacturing and like if it's a German company, I probably trust it. No Samsung.
You don't get a lot of
shout out Patriots Germany.
Au contraire.
Samsung
a lot of the people who have been
Are
emailing
Samsung TVs good?
to help. No, they say Samsung is really good.
Because their
really
fridges
TVs.
and washing machines are not.
Yeah, too many bells and whistles.
Okay.
No, people tell me that get the OLED, whatever it is, Samsung, I've had a few people say Samsung, you can't go wrong.
TV rankings in the newsletter.
And Sony.
LG, do we like LG?
And LG is
Sony's
okay.
good. I remember getting a Sony a while ago, and the guy's like, "Nah, Cadillac of TVs, can't go wrong with a Sony."
Yeah.
So this was a long time ago.
Paul, that's what I did.
What, you got a
I
Sony?
ordered my Sony.
That's why I got a Sony
It'll
too.
be
It's lasts
delivered.
for like
It'll be
20
delivered
years.
in a few days. Yeah.
My mom's got this TV though, and I don't know if it's LED, but it makes everything look like video, and it's really annoying. Like
Well,
even film movies,
yeah.
they're the frame rate or whatever. I
No,
think it's LCD maybe
well,
or something.
Yeah,
but it
that
just
all
looks
has to do with
crappy.
the megahertz or whatever.
The connection?
But OLED is what I'm told to get because, like, you get the black color on a regular HD TV, and it seems like washed out and like wavy. And I guess with these OLEDs, black is black. It has.
Okay.
You need it for video games.
You got to turn your mic on, Matt.
Words.
Okay.
Oh, so it's different for you guys.
We still haven't gotten this one down.
I can't talk to you guys.
He just waved his hand and said, the hell with it.
Fred, do you think in
No,
the
I
news-
want to hear what you had to say because
No.
you're like Mr. Watch TV guy.
Speed Queen.
Yeah.
Speed Queen.
I don't know.
Do you think you'll do any product reviews in the newsletter? Like, just
Yeah,
general,
we should.
like 5
We have to
star?
be careful though that we don't do a product review of one of our sponsors and kill it.
Right. So no.
The OLED, that's the way you got to go. You
That's
need
what
that.
that's
You need
what I
those
did.
OLEDs.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Video games? Woo-wee.
Well, I don't
Amazing.
play video games.
You should
so-
start if you get an OLED.
I don't want to play
You'd be
video
blown away.
games. But they say for sports
See,
and
he's an
movies
adult,
and
so he
it's-
doesn't play those.
It's really good. So, all right, we got to hurry. So let's get to more of our calls on the TPX hotline. Let's see who's first. Jay in Minnesota has been hanging on. What's up, Jay?
Minnesota.
Jay. Okay, goodbye, Jay.
No way,
We'll
Jay.
go down to Washington, D.C. Richard, what's up, Richard? Richard.
Matt, did you change something when you were doing the talk back to us? Because now we
No,
can't
I
hear
hear
the
something.
callers.
Turn it up. I think you did something. He's talking, but I don't think we can hear him.
Nobody's talking.
No? Okay. Richard's not there.
Nobody's listening.
We'll go
anyway.
to Jacob in North Carolina. Jacob.
Come on, Jacob.
Hey, you
Jacob.
guys hear me?
There he is.
Yes. Hey, Jacob.
Hey, big fan of the show. Love watching, listening. I know recently there's been a lot of talk about like Ramondre and his fumbles and everything, and people asked Mayo some questions about if he could be benched potentially because of that. I just want to get your guys' take on how does that apply to like the quarterback position, because I know Brissett really hasn't been turning the ball over very much, but this past week, unfortunately, there were some turnovers on his end. When does that come into play at the quarterback position?
Yeah, I think
All right,
in general, it's a good question.
When Drake May's ready.
Yeah,
It's my pat answer.
But also, what I think he meant, like, the same rules for you bench a guy who fumbles too much. Is it the same rules for a quarterback?
If he's not playing well consistently, that's when quarterbacks get benched.
Yeah, but it has to be like if it's a good quarterback, he has to be played really bad for a while, right?
No, but yeah, it would be a different situation if it was.
I
Yeah,
know.
like
Yeah.
Mac Jones got benched.
But a lot of people said that Bill kind of mishandled that.
No, I'm talking about last year.
Yeah.
Mac Jones was playing poorly for the first half of the season. Bailey Zappi played the rest of the season.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if you have like a situation like in Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence hasn't played well, but he's clearly their franchise quarterback. He's probably going to continue to be their quarterback until they decide he's not the quarterback anymore. And then you move on and he goes somewhere else.
Right.
Daniel Jones with the Giants.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just hard to draw a comparison with a running back who's fumbled in all 4 games and lost in the last 2. I mean,
By
that's
the
like
way, 5 in a row, going back to last year.
2 of them. So wow, that's a good stat. I mean, for a quarterback, would that be like 2 to 3 interceptions, 4 games in a row? I mean, it's hard to do it as a running back like that. I think that's why there's just so much attention on Stevenson with this.
Yep.
But I'm guessing maybe he doesn't start. They, get Gibson, get going, hasty a little bit, and then you bring Ramondre in when you feel like, all right, this is the time. Like the game's in question. We need you now. Come in, don't fumble, help. That's maybe how you try to break it.
It's a tough one.
Yeah. And then you got to put him in.
Does he
when
win the
pressure's
game?
on. Yeah.
Does he win the game? And the storyline for the post-game show is Gerard Mayo pushing all the right buttons.
Right.
Playoffs.
That would give us something to talk about at least.
Chad's in Dallas. Hey, Chad.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Chad.
I'll make this quick. I was hopefully somebody can clarify this for me. But I know we're talking about Drake May starting and I think that's kind of is what it is at this point. But we're also blaming the offensive coordinator for having bad plays or whatever it is, whatever he's doing wrong. I don't know. I'm just a football fan. But wouldn't y'all think it'd be worse if we start him this year sometime? That's fine. Then fire the offensive coordinator, then start a new offensive coordinator next year. Then it kind of seems like we're the Jets all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think.
I agree with that. I
I
mean,
don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Alex Van Pelt's going to get. Do you?
No, not this year.
Not after one, right?
no, you can't judge him by this year. I mean,
Well, I could, but I don't think that will happen.
Yeah.
I think they're sort of doing what they thought they were going to be doing. I think this is kind of part of a larger plan.
Yeah.
Bringing May along slowly.
Jay's in Minnesota. What's up, Jay?
Hello, guys. Couple of questions. So do you think that Elliott Wolf maybe is kicking down that wide receiver and tackle position down for next year to get some young talent? Because Jason Peters, I heard, got signed to Seattle, and Davante Adams, we haven't even reached out, it seems like. So I feel like we're kind of just worrying about what's going on right now and then just worrying about it next year.
Possibly.
Also, do you think there's
Yep.
do you think there's any pressure from Robert Kraft to maybe play May, or if there's any questions on, like, all right, the product doesn't look good, why are we not playing our number 3 guy right now? I think how you get ready is by playing. I don't think that you can get ready by just sitting there and waiting and waiting and waiting.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, Paul, Aaron Rodgers went 6-11, right? And then the next year he did well. I think that he got ready by playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
I hope
Exactly.
I hope there is no pressure either way to play or not to play from ownership. That's not what we're looking
I would
for.
hope so,
Now,
too.
I do would imagine that maybe Robert Kraft stops down every once in a while and says,
How's the kid?
What's going on?
Yeah.
And maybe
They're really living dangerous the last couple of shows.
maybe through the questions he asks, his opinion comes through.
Yeah.
Whether or not he should play. But I hope that ownership is not putting pressure on this young staff or this new staff to do it either way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Let them, you paid them to do a job, let them do their job.
And as far as everything Gerard has said, that's how it is. It's everything he said on the record is that Mr. Kraft is just letting them do their thing and work it all out. So
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, certainly not after 4 games. I mean, I think maybe, are there people out there that think, like, Drake May can't play next season either? Like, I don't know. I haven't heard that yet, but I'm assuming there's probably somebody out there.
Well, you just put it out there.
Could you imagine, like, Aaron Rodgers sat 3 full seasons?
Yeah.
Could you imagine if that happened?
I can't imagine it.
Well, it would
Like-
be okay to tolerate if
we had Tom,
or
They were
Brett
winning.
Favre or whoever it is. That's the difference.
Yep.
We wouldn't be worried about it. Wow, let the kids sit. We're winning games. We're in the playoffs.
Do you think there's any
You know?
chance that
That's
they,
not the case.
that they re-sign Jacoby Brissett next year for whatever purpose? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, is that a potential?
Sure.
Slides to the backup role and likes being here kind of thing, maybe.
Yeah, as long as
1 year.
Why
deal?
not?
I don't know.
Now,
I mean,
now I'm angry.
What? As a backup?
I don't want that.
No. Why not?
Sorry,
Who else?
Paul,
You
I
need a
didn't-
backup.
Joe Milton.
You need a backup.
Well, I mean, why did they draft him if they don't think he can
Yeah, they
eventually
took a
be
flyer.
a
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Veteran voice in the
Yeah.
locker room, maybe.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know if Brissett's at that point
It's
yet.
like having Brian Hoyer on your staff. That's a positive.
Yeah.
Like
That's
why
why
not
I-
have Brian Hoyer? You know?
That's why I asked. But I feel like if May doesn't play all that much.
Holding back.
No, I know, but and then
It's rare.
No, they.
I feel like I'm showing growth. Leave me alone.
I see the wheels turning.
Before free agency, they signed Jacoby Brissett to a 1-year extension before free agency, and then people start to say, well, maybe they're not so sure about Drake. They want to have a little bit of insurance. Like they're not sure if he's ready to start. I don't know. I mean, that's how these things kind of tend to snowball.
Mike gets me.
Paul's in a dark place now.
And
Sorry.
then all of a sudden it's not really where we wanted it to be. It's not as much.
Well, if that
and then we're
happens-
gonna do the comfortable thing.
If that happens,
and we're gonna
then
go back to Jacoby's just gonna start the season.
No, I don't. I'm not in. I'm not in.
Well,
on
that's
that.
why I'm not in on it.
Okay,
I'm
I
not
don't
here
think that
for
would
it.
happen. Anyway, Cahal in Galway, Ireland, writes in. Not sure I agree that this is a must-win or an easy win against the Dolphins.
Not an easy
None
win.
of us said
None
it
of
would
us
be
said
easy.
easy
Yes.
Mike said it was a must-win.
I said it's a must-win.
I think it's pretty close to a must-win. I agree with Mike, but I never ever did anybody on this show anyway say it would be an easy one.
No, in fact, just the opposite. I said the hard part is having a must-win game that you don't really know what to expect, and the other team has the best weapons in the game that can. They're the ones who can affect the game instantly. Like this Patriots team, if the game doesn't unfold the way, if they get in a little bit of a hole, like it gets dicey really fast with this team.
He said, granted, Miami have been terrible to start the year and trying to come to terms with losing Tua, but man for man, their starters are far more talented than the Patriots starters, with the exception of quarterback, where the Patriots might have a small, and I mean small, advantage. The Finns have underperformed so far, but I would be much more confident of them reaching their level soon and be more competitive. That could easily happen this Sunday. I think we all agree the Patriots have been broadly what we expected, so no real expectation for improvement from this level. Also, just based on the injuries that the Patriots currently have on the O-line and potentially with the safeties and cornerbacks, I'm expecting regression, especially with Andrews out. So to my mind, a win is not on the cards at all, and a big beating could be on the way.
I think we should play some of these emails and phone calls for Felger and Max.
I know.
Mocked and ridiculed. You don't get much negativity on that show.
No, it's just a bunch of idiots who live with their heads underground and just
they
assume
watch
that
the
we're
games
still
and they
going.
analyze. When
Right.
they see the same thing you see.
Right. I took offense. A little offensive.
Yeah, the man for man thing with Miami, I agree. I think that there's probably an edge, but like Miami's offensive line's a mess too, just like yours is. That's why they can't run the ball. Defensively, they're not great to begin with. They've been missing a lot of personnel. David Long missed the last game for them, much like Bentley has been out for the Patriots. That's kind of similar kind of role. Calais Campbell's a really good player up front, but he's
50
little,
years old.
Yeah, he's a little long in the tooth. I don't think he's going to dominate the way, say, like Quinnen Williams did, a couple of weeks ago for the Jets. Jalen Ramsey, kind of similar. I think he's a really good player, but I don't think he's the same guy that he was, in his heyday. So, yeah, I do think that probably man for man, Miami has an edge at more spots than the Patriots do, but it's not overwhelming without the offense to bolster everything. And if, I read you the numbers. 33 points in 4 games.
Yeah. To me, it just boils down to Waddle and Hill, and those two guys have the ability to impact the game on one dumb play that didn't really pop up for them last week, but it's, like I said, it takes one brain fart by an undrafted rookie named Del Pettis who's playing all of a sudden on the back end that he bites on something, and it's 6.
And I will say that the one thing that does worry me is the whole, like, I have Geno Smith in my head, because I so dismissed Geno Smith going into that Seattle game.
Snoop.
And Tyler Huntley is not as good as Geno Smith, even coming when Geno Smith got to Seattle. Geno Smith was more accomplished with the Jets than Tyler Huntley is. But to your point, all it takes is one good game. What if the problems with containing the edges continues? Yeah. It's happened 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
What if it happens again, and all of a sudden he's getting out of the pocket, making plays with his legs, and throwing the ball around?
Yep.
Hey,
have the buys started yet this
yes,
week? They have. Okay, so I'll do one more email. Tyler from Providence. This is wait a minute. Hold on.
Whoa.
Hold the phone.
Hold on, Tyler.
You've been preempted.
Evan has returned from practice. Evan has returned from practice. Yeah, Evan has returned from practice. What was the mood? Who wasn't there? What did he see?
All right, Evan.
Hello. Yeah, it's a lot longer these days that we're out there for.
I know. What are you doing out there?
Anyways, attendance-wise, some somewhat good news. Jabril Peppers was back at practice, but don't get too excited over there. So he was out there for stretching, and then he left. So,
no, we had a thing. It's all right. He's waiting for me.
He had to go see a guy about a horse or something. Yeah, but no, he was. We talked to him a little bit in the locker room, and he didn't seem like too worried that it's going to be long term. Kyle Duggar not at practice still. That one sounds like it's tenuous for Sunday, I would say. And then obviously David Andrews and Caden Wallace also missing for the Patriots. David Andrews has been there physically, though.
I think he starts his coaching career.
Yeah, that's sort of the vibe that we've gotten as well. Mayo made the comparison to his 2014 season when he was on injured reserve. This is an opportunity to maybe see if you like coaching. You know, if this is something that you want to do in the future.
Yep.
So that was attendance.
And then just obviously by not saying them, we know they're back. But Lowe's out there.
Yeah, so Lowe and Michael Jordan were out there yesterday. So were Bourne, Taki, and Mapu. All three of those guys are continuing to practice as well. And KJ Osborne was participating. He was a DMP yesterday, which is a little bit surprising because he was out there when we were out there. So he was participating in individuals when they kicked us out.
So I noticed you came in here without your little windbreaker.
Correct.
So weather's a little nicer. Is that
disrespectful?
Is that
Small guy,
raise the
little coat.
spirits of both the players and the
What is
media?
that bag that you're wearing?
It's tough because we're in that part of the season where is it hot or is it cold? You don't know.
I am ill-prepared.
Got Mike today.
I wore a sweatshirt. I'm like, too soon. Jump the gun.
When you get out there, it was like 70 degrees out there right now, so it's nice out.
Yeah,
it's nice. Yeah, it was a little hot.
What was the offensive line?
So they were doing a little bit more mixing and matching today than what we saw yesterday. Seemed like some of those guys, Leverett, Layden Robinson, popped up on the injury report, so they didn't do as much yesterday. Today we saw Leverett snapping a lot in the media portion, so he looks like he's back in that center one spot. And then Layden Robinson was getting some reps next to him at right guard. So between him and City So, that still feels like it's a little bit up in the air which direction they're going to go in. But the rest of it was the same. Lowe, Jordan, Leverett, right guard.
So Robinson.
Yeah, on winning.
He's so Robinson.
Robinson.
Okay, and any issues with the media? Anything that they need to get off their chest or no?
No issues today. We have this new structure of take attendance during stretching, then they kick us out for a period, and then we get to come back for a period.
Yeah.
So that's why it takes so long, and to get through everything. But it's been worth it. We get to see the offensive line combination, which is obviously a huge story right now.
I heard Mark Daniels on the radio this morning, and I guess he's being given credit for breaking the David Andrews news.
Okay.
Is that right?
Good for him.
Yeah. I mean,
that was the Paulest thing ever. Okay.
Okay.
Good for you.
I mean, in this day and age with this new regime, like, they'll tell you what's going on. You don't have to break anything. You know.
Well, I'm not sure they would have said what they said at the press conference if it hadn't been out there. I think Gerard said specifically, well, it's out there now. So.
Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Should
So
still
now
try to be a reporter, Fred.
it's that time of the week.
Better than the month.
What happened?
What's going on over there?
Well,
I'm so curious.
It's frazzled.
So, a little bit of order restoration is what I would say happened,
Okay.
Freddie.
It's Paul 1.
Fred and Paul,
Oh.
11 and 5.
That's why it was a little bit of order. It wasn't order being it was
Correct.
just Paul, it would have been order
Correct.
restored.
Plus, it hasn't been completely restored. I have still, I have some catching up to do.
Sure do.
Alex and Evan, 9 and 7, and Mike, 8 and 8.
Terrible.
You're not good at this.
No, I don't
Said Fred.
With the spread, Paul, 10 and 6.
Ooh,
He's back.
Good week.
He's back.
Followed by Alex and Evan at 9 and 7.
Okay.
And Mike and Fred at 7 and 9.
Oh.
So here are
Losing
the
money.
current standings. Alex and Paul, 36 and 28. It's really bad, by the way. That's the best record we have, just picking winners.
We're all
That's not
We're all
everybody.
bad. Yeah.
Shape it up.
It's not just
Yeah,
one.
but if there's a person out there that has a survivor pool that's still like intact, they should. Wow.
You suck.
That just joking around.
Right.
Okay, sorry. Fred, 35 and 29, so only one game off the pace. Evan, 34 and 30, and Mike, 33 and 31.
Oh.
4 weeks of just picking winners.
That's
What's the term?
I
You
don't
should,
know. Quit.
Can't believe
Bet-
I'm losing to this guy.
Yeah.
bet against Mike. What's the
So
what's
with the spread,
Fade me.
fade you. Yeah, that's
Fade
it.
deuce.
fade deuce.
Yeah.
With the spread, Fred is still on top, but he has company now. Fred, Alex, and Evan,
Oh.
all at 34, 28, and 2.
Not too shabby.
Followed by Mike at 31, 31 and 2, and Paul 30, 32 and 2. So I am still in last place, but
coming up.
Those are the footsteps you hear.
We're hearing the footsteps.
All right, teams on the
Bleep's
bye
about
this
to
week.
get real.
There's 4 teams on byes this week: the Lions, the Chargers, the Eagles, and Titans. So you won't be hearing them mentioned. Let's go to tonight. We have to hurry. On 8:15 on Prime Video, it's the 3-1 Buccaneers against the 2-2 Falcons.
The Falcons by 1.5.
1.5. I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Bucks. Seemed they bounced back a little bit last week. I'm going to take Tampa, and I will grab that point. 1.5, please.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bucks as well.
No, I'm worried that Deuce picked the Bucks. So, no, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna go with the Baker Bucks. I'm not sold on Atlanta yet. I'm not buying it yet.
I'm going to take the home team, Atlanta. I think the Thursday night home thing is legit, so I'm going to do that. But I do feel like I've given away a lot of these Thursday night games. I can't get my week off to a good start. But I'm going to take the Falcons.
No, Paul's right.
No, he's
Falcons
not.
win. Not only is it a Thursday, but it's a divisional game, and you got to kind of look at these differently a little bit. So I look at the Falcons.
Baker
pulling
not
off
going to
this
be
win.
baking tonight?
No, it's not a matter of Baker, because as we know, the league is better with him in it. But I think the Falcons pull off this divisional win. All right, so now Sunday, 9:30 in the morning Eastern time on NFL Network.
Which you guys figured that out. There will be some red zone action
Yeah.
for Paul in the pregame and postgame shows.
It's the 2-2 Jets against the 4-0 Vikings, and I'm assuming this is in London.
It is. It's at the other one, not Wembley. Tottenham Hotspur. Vikings by 2.5.
All right, I saw, unfortunately, our friend Evan getting a little roasted online about hot takes exposed. Evan said, Sam Darnold is eventually going to fall apart, which still very well could be true. Everyone's just like taking a victory lap.
4 weeks
I
love
believe
those.
the exact phrase was "S the bed."
We're taking victory laps in week 4.
But I'm not going to say it's this week. I don't know. There's something just off with the Jets for me. I'm going to go with Minnesota. Lay the points.
Sam Darnold's been burning me, but I don't know. Jets probably have a quicker flight to London. Minnesota's just, I feel like they got to lose at some point, right? No, I'm gonna pick Minnesota.
Wow, it's like a roller coaster.
Really
I'm going. It's the roller coaster
out
in
of
my
it.
brain today. The Jets cover.
Oh, the Jets cover.
So last week I get old takes exposed, and then I'm watching the box score. Darnold interception, Darnold fumble. All of a sudden the Packers come back, and I'm like, maybe spoke a little too soon there, old takes exposed, huh? How about that?
Wow.
I want to see you old take exposed,
He's
old
nothing
take
but
exposed
defensive.
for
He has
old
more
take
fights
exposing
with
you.
more people than I do.
I was really,
yeah.
if the Packers had come back and won that game, you know exactly what I was
I
doing.
love it.
Quote tweet. Oh yeah, good job. I was hoping for it.
Your old take is
and on that note, I'm going to go with the Jets. I just think that they're going to travel a little bit better in this game, and the Minnesota has got to lose at some point. They're not going to go undefeated.
Yeah, the last thing that Evan said is what I'm going with. I think the Vikings are a great story. I think they're a pretty good team. I'm not sure they're a 5-0 team. They got to lose at some point. I'm going to take the Jets to bounce back.
Yeah, believe it or not, I am too. I'm going to take the Jets to win.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers playing in Minnesota. He's played Minnesota a few times.
He has played,
You
but
know,
not
But has he
in-
played
but
him in
not
London?
England. Yeah.
No.
That I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say he hasn't because I don't
Yeah.
know.
Brett
So
Favre did while he was sitting.
I will go with the Jets. Fox, 1 o'clock. The 1-3 Panthers are at the 2-2 Bears.
Chicago by 4.
4. I think the Andy Dalton magic ran out last week. I'm just gonna go with the home team here. Caleb Williams continuing show some growth even if he's not putting up high production. So I'm gonna go with the home team, Chicago.
Chicago.
I'm gonna go with the home team, but I'm gonna take those points for the Panthers. I don't think
Really?
either one of these teams.
A lot of respect for the Panthers.
I don't think either one of these teams is very good right now. Chicago might be at some point, so I'm gonna say 3-point win for the Bears.
I'm tempted to do the same, but I'm not going to. I'm going to take Chicago both ways. I think the Panthers' offense has looked good in both games that Dalton has played, but
Dallas.
I'm going to take the Bears.
Yeah, money line parlay looks good here, so I will take the Bears both ways.
Don't know what that means.
That was awesome.
Nothing.
I don't know. What
That was
means.
awesome.
Mine was nonverbal. It was a nonverbal reaction.
CBS 1 o'clock. The 2-2 Ravens, who much respect to the Ravens for your last 2 wins. 2-2 Ravens at the 1-3 Bengals.
Hold on. Yeah, John? Yeah. Yeah. No, Fred. Yeah, Fred said, okay, I'll let him know. John Harbaugh says thank you.
Tell him.
Really appreciates the support.
Tell him, of course.
Just like
Because that's what the kids say. They don't.
Ravens.
The kids these days, they don't say you're welcome anymore. They just say of course.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I have noticed that.
Yeah.
Of course.
I do say that.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course. I take the of out.
I waitress with a girl who someone was like, say, she got like in trouble from this older woman for saying of course.
Karen.
A Karen.
Yeah. Oh, the wait staff
With
do
a
it all
K,
the time.
Karen with
They
a
all
K.
say of course.
Well, it's like, of course, like it's no issue. Like I'm happy to do this.
No,
for
but
you.
acknowledge that I thanked you. Don't say of course like I shouldn't thank.
What do
like,
you say
say
back
you're
to
welcome.
thank you?
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Of course, though. Like you're welcome. It's the same thing.
Generation gap, bro.
You're welcome. What does it even mean?
Like of
You're
course, it's
welcome.
my job to do this.
Right,
of
but
course I'm gonna
I
do this
still
for
want to
you.
thank
I
you.
got you your drink because you ordered it and I'm a
Right,
waitress.
I
so.
still,
Yeah.
I know it's your job, but I still want to thank you.
What about
Show my
no worries?
appreciation.
No worries kind of bugs me. No worries. Thank you.
I
no
do
worries.
have to admit, I do no worries in a text a lot.
And here, I'm not worried.
Yeah, right.
I just
right.
want to thank you.
right.
Well,
no worries. Don't
me
worry
and
about
Evan's
things.
generation
Don't
is
worry about it.
anxious,
No
so-
worries is that. Don't worry about
No
it.
worries.
I got you.
Acknowledge
Not a problem.
that I've thanked you.
Well, I
We
would
don't-
say
we just
thank
don't
you.
wanna
I would
talk
say
to
you're
you,
welcome.
period.
All right. Anyway,
Socially awkward.
the Ravens by 2.5 on the road.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Baltimore the way they're playing right now. Cincinnati trying to find spark after last week, build on it, but I don't think it happens against the division. I'll take Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore. I very much enjoy watching Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry play together.
I did like Joe Burrow came out pretty fired up yesterday and was like, I got to beat the Ravens. Like they have my number, but
He still needs to dye
I'm
his hair
gonna,
back.
I'm gonna go Baltimore here. I just I think they're starting to roll a little bit.
I think
but
Evan might have just changed my pick. So that like is there a thing that I was
think-
not aware
I
of?
think he's implying that the Ravens own the Bengals.
It
The
kind of
Ravens own the Bengals.
that's what it was implying. He came out in this press conference and was like, I got to beat Baltimore. So it kind of felt like that. I don't have any data.
He's
to
putting
back
too
it
much
up.
on it.
See if I can look it up real quick.
You know what? I'm going to roll the dice anyway. I'm going to take Cincinnati.
Wow.
The home dog to me. I don't know if you heard this one before. Barks loudest.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
Home
I like
dog
that.
barks loudest.
Yeah, he's lost 3 of the last 4 and 2 in a
Yeah,
row.
that's unfortunate.
F the Bengals.
Sheesh.
F the Bengals. F the Bengals.
Who
Up
dey?
the
Whoa. Bro, you are determined to get all of us in trouble.
Yeah, no way. Ravens, both ways.
Oh, week
Both
from tonight,
ways.
Bruins go.
CBS 1 o'clock. The 3-1 Bills are at the 3-1 Texans.
This should be a good game. The Bills by 1.
Heck of a game.
Heck of a game.
Love it. All right, I see they're talking about a Stephon Diggs revenge game. I didn't have a chance to read the article. I guess there's an Inside the Divorce article by Jeremy Fowler.
I did not read it.
I'm okay.
Yeah, any good insight of what a jerkhole Stephon Diggs is now?
Jerkhole.
That's right. That's right. You heard it here first. Can you call John Harbaugh back and tell him I said that? I'm going to go. This is a tough one. I'm going to go with Houston at home, though. Home dogs. What did you say? Home dogs bark the loudest. So
Correct.
There you go.
I think Buffalo bounces back after the loss last week. Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm with Alex on this. It's a 1 o'clock game. Not as many eyeballs on the Bills. I think they bounce back.
I like the Bills in this one, too. Houston, I think, is good, but I think they've sort of been given a spot that they haven't risen to yet.
Yeah.
Sort of
I agree.
perception-wise.
I see what you're saying.
You know, they were life and
Yeah.
death with a winless team last week.
This
Yeah.
they're knocking on the door, but they're not in yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the Bills to bounce
Having
back.
said that,
Houston.
Window
I'm taking
closing.
the Texans.
Oh.
Paul knows what this means.
Window closing.
Yes.
Window
It means I dream of Jeannie when she disappears.
I'm taking the Texans. CBS 1 o'clock. The 2-2 Colts are at the 0-4 Jaguars.
Jacksonville by 3.
Mm.
And this is one the Jaguars own the Colts.
Right.
That one I'm aware of.
It's a really hard game
What's
to
the
pick.
health status of Anthony Richardson?
I do not know.
I'll look it up.
I did not know until this very day that it was
I'm going to assume he's banged up, but he's going to go. But I don't know. I haven't seen enough of Jacksonville, as you can maybe tell from my picks. But I'm going to go with Jacksonville at home to hold serve. Indies just seem so up and down.
Yeah, on the basis that I feel like Jacksonville has to win a game at some point. I think it's
Why
this
not
week.
this one?
But I'll let the Colts cover.
Ooh.
You're gonna let them cover.
I'm gonna allow them.
Yeah.
If they want. Only if they want.
I'll allow.
So Anthony Richardson is at practice, but he's banged up and he's getting defensive about his injury-prone label. So that's where we're at.
That's
with
not
that.
good. Jacksonville by
I'm gonna go Jacksonville too. I think they're not gonna go 0-17, just like I said. The Vikings aren't gonna go 17-0. So I'll take the Jaguars.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the trend, the AFC South trend that Jacksonville has owned them, so I'll take Jacksonville too.
I'm going to go Jacksonville. I think Lawrence played better last week, even in the loss. But I will take the points just to hedge my bet.
Would you trade Drake May for Trevor Lawrence right now?
I might.
Kind of going back to the Mac Jones.
I wouldn't.
No.
And I like Trevor Lawrence. I agree with Fred. I don't think he has been, quote, capital T, capital P, the problem.
Yeah.
There's more stuff going on with him. I mean, it might be his fault with the static between he and Peterson, but that's to me the bigger issue than his play. But he hasn't played well. Not trying to say he has.
No, he hasn't.
Too many turnovers.
I like Trevor Lawrence, but he has not played well.
Too many turnovers.
Fox on 1-3 Browns with DeWash Watson against the 3-1 Commanders.
Rookie of the month, Jaden Daniels.
Washington by 3.5.
Yeah, I mean, I do think Jaden Daniels is going to have a game where he struggles a little bit, but I'd like to say I think it's Cleveland's defense who is pretty good, pretty aggressive. But I'm not going to do it this week. I'm going to take Washington. I don't love it. I like Cleveland's defense. I think they'll make it hard on them, but I'm going to take Washington. I'll take the hook though for Cleveland. Keep it close.
Good use of the hook, Mike.
I'm learning.
I'm going to do the same thing.
I am tempted to take Cleveland because of the defense against a rookie quarterback. But I don't have the stomach for it. I'm taking Washington. I think Daniels looks great. So I'm going to take the Commanders.
So I am going to this is my list. I promise this is the last week. A, I think more of the Browns than they've shown. And B, I just can't imagine that Washington is just this good, magically this fast.
Yeah, right.
That's what I thought last week, and they put 42 up in the desert.
Right.
I'm going to take Cleveland. I don't know why, but this is it. I promise Jaden Daniels, this is it. I will. You'll have me if you prove me wrong
his
again.
number, though.
He just texted me. He said thanks.
Oh,
Okay, nice. Promise.
Not a phone call.
We're
We don't do
connected.
that
Promise.
anymore.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Browns too. I just think that he's going to have ups and downs, Jaden Daniels, and maybe this is a down week. I don't know.
I don't know either, but I definitely
Like Paul said, if the kid does it, kudos to him. All right, now we're going to skip
he was like
over
30,
the Patriots at 1 o'clock, and we're going to go to 4:05. The 2-2 Raiders are at the 2-2 Broncos.
Broncos by 2.5.
Oh man, I mean,
I'd
like to know what the
know.
what the temperature test is right now with Davante Adams wanting out. How are we feeling in Vegas right now? Are the Raiders all still bought in, ready to go to Denver and play in that elevation? It's pretty tough, up there. But Bo Nix throwing picks, he's not good. I'm gonna go with the Vegas. I don't know. I mean, it's a hard
Vegas.
It's a hard one.
Vegas.
What was the line? 2.5. I don't know how
Denver
I'm
by
supposed-
2.5.
Denver, yeah, I'll take Vegas. Underdogs.
I'm going to go with the home team, Denver.
Yeah, I think Denver's defense is playing really well. I'm going to go Denver on this one. The Raiders they're the Titanic right now. They're sinking ship.
They might be. I know.
I'd love
yeah.
to see it.
Yeah, I'm
so
going to take
much.
Denver both ways also. I think both teams stink, and I'd go with the home team in those situations in general.
This is your lock of the week.
Oh.
It'll be easy for the Broncos. And you know what else is easy, Mike?
Where's my one?
You know what else is easy?
Bud Light.
Bud Light.
Damn right.
It's easy to drink. It's easy to enjoy. Bud Light is the official beer sponsor of the New England Patriots. And while I have you, Massachusetts is made for everyone. For leaf peepers, corn maze strollers, regatta lovers, and any other herbs you can think of, come to where there's something for everyone this fall. Massachusetts, where everything is made possible. Plan your trip at visitma.com.
So did you take the Broncos in that game?
Yeah,
Okay.
I said it's the lock of the week.
Yeah. Is that going to be a part of the newsletter too? Like, we'll get like a little thing.
Fred Kirsch lock of the week.
The little lock
and it's like
emoji.
you,
Yeah.
like maybe like dressed up like a gambling guy, like Freddie's
Well,
lock of the
sure.
week.
We're not allowed to do that. So.
Oh right.
4:05 on Fox.
Disclaimer.
The 1-3
It's Halloween.
Cardinals are at the 2-2 49ers.
Niners by 7, which
Yikes.
is the biggest spread of the week.
This is the biggest spread of the week, and I impressed with San Francisco. I didn't even think they played all that great, but they still managed to handle the Patriots pretty easily. I'm going to take San Francisco, but division game, Kyler Murray, they're kind of explosive. I'm gonna take the points. I think it'll be closer than that.
Yeah, the spread's too big for me too. I'm doing the same thing Mike is.
Niners roll.
Yeah.
Niners.
Yeah, I'm going to go Niners both ways too. I was disappointed with the Cardinals last week. They didn't really put up much of a fight. I'll take the Niners
I'm going to take the Cardinals to win.
outright.
Yep.
Oh.
NFC West game.
Now that is an upset. Unlike the normal
Sure.
upsets that's an
Yeah,
upset.
and after the game, I was listening
Well, I
to
like
the
it, Fred.
local radio broadcast of 49ers, and they were like, 49ers didn't play well today. They have problems.
They didn't.
Yeah.
So
Very Patriots.
I think that those problems roll into this week, and I think the Cardinals catch them at the right time.
We won by 30, but we stink.
I didn't say they stunk, but they didn't play great.
4:25 on CBS. The 2-2 Packers are at the 1-3 Stafford Perillo Rams.
The LAR, I don't even know who's playing for the LAR, are getting 3 at home. Green Bay by 3.
Well, you get 3 for being at home.
Yeah, so they're underdogs by 3.
No, it's even.
No, now they're underdogs by 6.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It causes my blood pressure to just race.
Yeah, I tried to go with Green Bay last week.
be
It
the
didn't
Diet
work
Pepsi
out. But I'll you're right.
with those.
It's hard to underrate Stafford though. Like I feel like he's still good enough that he can change a game. But I'll go with Green Bay on the road and I'll lay the points.
Go Pack, go.
I was literally gonna say the same
We're
thing.
we sit next to each other now, so we're
Go Pack, go. I feel like when I watch the Packers, I'm hopefully watching the Patriots' future unfold right before my eyes.
Manifest, baby.
So I'm like, if the Packers win, that means good news for the Patriots long term. So I'm a Packers fan.
Yeah,
Go
I'm going to
Pack,
take
go.
the Packers. This will be a home game for them. I'm sure they'll have, thousands
LA
upon
Packer
thousands of
fans.
cheeseheads. Just the Rams have nothing. They're going into these games with absolutely nothing to punch back with.
Not even 2-2.
It's Kyron Williams.
I will go.
That's
with
about it.
I will go with the Packers as well. 4:25 on CBS. The 1-3 Giants are at the 3-1 Seahawks.
Seahawks by 6.5.
Ooh.
Oh,
Damn.
that's a big one. But y'all know me. I'm not afraid to pick Seattle at home big. It's a tough place to play. Giants got to go all the way across the country. They got some questions. I'm going to take Seattle. I'm going to lay the points. Seattle big.
Yeah, double Seahawks.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. Number 1 offense in the league in DVOA, the Seattle Seahawks right now. Best offense in football statistically. So
Yeah,
they're going to
Paul.
put up some points every
Geno
week.
Smith hater over here.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I stand by my bad takes. I said that a couple of weeks ago, and he's played great.
What's that supposed to mean?
I had no take on him, so I can't.
I don't try to pretend that I didn't say things. That's what I mean, like they do on the radio. Seahawks, I'll take both ways.
Yeah, me too. Seahawks both ways. Sunday night, 8:20 on NBC, Universo, and Telexitos. The 2-2 Cowboys are at the 3-1 Steelers.
Peacock. Usually, this is what you usually say. And Peacock.
Yes, and Peacock for us cord cutters.
Nice 70s throwback game right here, Fred.
There you
When
go.
I think of Dallas and Pittsburgh, I think of Super Bowl
Teams that used to be good.
13. Pittsburgh by 2.5.
Had like that old Pittsburgh stadium too that like had like it looked like they were playing on cement that was like spray painted green basically.
Three Rivers.
Three River Stadium. I'm gonna go with Dallas on the road. Take those points.
Me too.
Dallas is such a better team, but
Yeah.
they smell right now. There's something off about that team, but I'm still going to take Dallas. I'll just take the talent. I just think they're much better.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Dallas to me is a better team, but no Micah Parsons, right? I'm going to take the Cowboys anyway.
It's amazing the respect the Cowboys get after losing every year.
Talent.
Yeah. But I'm going to take the Cowboys.
Yeah.
All right. So now we go to Monday night, ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN Deportes. The 2-2 Saints are at the 4-0 Chiefs.
How about them Saints getting that primetime slot?
Yeah.
Chiefs by 5.5.
No brainer for me. Continuing to roll with Kansas City to win. I don't love laying all those points, but I will.
I'll take the Chiefs. I'll allow the Saints to cover.
I'm going to do the same thing. The Chiefs, who's playing at wide receiver for Kansas City right
Patrick
now? We
Mahomes.
have no idea.
Oh, did you see the thing with Rice's mom?
Yeah, was that
No?
real?
Yeah, I think so.
Not good.
It's being reported like it's real, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
I'm just going to be on record saying I'm not buying it. Neither did she.
Allegedly, yeah. Allegedly, she stole a package
Yeah.
from someone's door and got caught on a Ring camera, and she was wearing a Mama Rice
Mama
jersey.
Rice jersey.
So that was not
Your-
great.
Your son's in the NFL. He can just buy you whatever it is that you want.
That's the beauty of it.
So I'm
quit the
going to
game.
take the Chiefs to win, but I'm going to take the Saints to cover just because I don't know how many points the Chiefs are going to be able to score in this one.
Plenty.
Yeah, this is a good spot for the Saints with all the stuff that you guys are talking about. I'm going to be with Mike, though. I'm going to take the Chiefs until they lose.
No, the Sharps are chalking this, and they say it's a cover, not a cover.
No.
So who's winning?
So
They're gonna have more.
The Chiefs are going to win.
Chiefs are going to win.
But the Saints are going to.
Okay, so
not
you're with
lose.
everybody else.
They're not going to lose by the cover, by the point
Okay.
spread.
Okay.
So
I got it.
Somehow we only have 4 minutes left in the show after all that hurrying.
So go for the money line.
Well, we can finally talk about Miami a little bit. I
All
guess.
right, so now we go back to Sunday at 1 on Fox. A lot of Fox Patriots games this year.
I don't care for it.
1-3
don't like games
Dolphins
on Fox
are
either.
at the 1-3 Patriots.
The Patriots by 1.
Hey,
Wow.
we're favored. First time. No one asked Maye about that this week. I thought maybe.
Paul's
they'd
going
be
to take the Dolphins to cover.
What is that? I love when he just stares at you. Oh, that's great. All right, I can't pick against the Patriots in this situation. I said I think it's a must-win kind of a game for them. I think it's going to be a tractor pull. You can't let the big plays happen with those two guys. I think that'll change the dynamic really quick, and Patriots struggle to come back. If they do give up a couple scores, that could be the difference. So hopefully they play tight on the back end. They keep Hill and Waddle in check. I still think it's not going to be a lot of points. I'll go Patriots 13-10.
Patriots 14. Miami 12.
14-12. Okay.
I'm
It's a third grade basketball game.
I don't love picking either of these teams right now. I would stay away from this game if I could. Miami offensively, they still are generating open receivers down the field. Their quarterback just cannot get them the football. So that does worry me a little bit because the blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while, and all it takes is one 70-yard touchdown to Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
And then that's basically game if you're the Patriots. So,
Or PI and puts the ball on the wall.
so I am going to take the Patriots, but I don't like it. I'm going to say 15-13. Joey Sly game-winning field goal as time expires.
Yeah. We all see similar kinds of game unfolding. I do like the Patriots in this spot. I think, unlike Miami, the Patriots are not completely defeated. I think Miami had aspirations. They're obviously not, meeting them because of a variety of issues. I'm going to go 13-9.
9.
Patriots.
9.
Red
Patriots are going to shock the world this week, and they're going to score 21 points.
The bar is so low.
That might be the saddest statement that we've ever uttered on this show.
I think the Niners scored 21 points. in a
21 to
quarter.
10. Patriots easily covering that 1 point spread.
I would love it.
Easily.
Show some respect.
So chalk. This is a chalk game. Chalk.
Imagine saying you're going to shock the world and score 21
Well,
points.
that's the joke. It's a joke.
I know, it is a joke. You're right.
Comedic stylings.
All right. That's going to be it for this edition of Patriots Unfiltered. Thanks, everyone, for calling, for emailing. Incredible engagement.
You guys brought it today. There was a lot of interaction today.
We only got to a small amount of them, unfortunately, because we had to hurry. But we will see you next Tuesday.
Catch
22 at 2:30. Stay tuned for that. Bye.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.
The world's original podcast.